Okay, let's do the installation for the VW crankshaft drive gear. So I've installed the number 3 main bearing, and you can see that the dowel pin hole for alignment into the crankcase is facing the rear like it should be as per spec. So I've moved the bearing back, I've pre-lubricated it, and I've positioned the crank so that I can slide the gear on. So I've been cooking the crank gear over here, and it's up to about 220 degrees Fahrenheit. And with any luck, this go around, I can slide this on and bottom it right against the crank flange. Then we put in what's called the racer spacer, and that's replacing the original OEM spacer that goes in between the crank gear and the distributor drive gear. So now I'm going to go ahead and install this. And just make sure that it's butt flush against the crank gear. And now back over to the French fry pot. We'll just turn this off because we don't need it anymore for safety. And we'll take this distributor drive gear now and position the distributor drive gear over the crank snout, align the key, and slide the distributor drive gear into position. Now, while it's still going, we should be putting on our snap ring. Just have to get the pliers here. So we take our snap ring, being careful not to scratch or mar up the surface of the first crank journal for the other full circle bearing. So we're just going to spread this as we need to, and sometimes it can be a little bit tricky if you don't have the right pliers to get enough press or squeeze on them to actually open them up. So the important part here is to make sure that it does go directly down inside the groove on the crankshaft relief that holds the snap ring. And you can see right there that the snap ring is in place. And if you take a close look here now, you can see that we have our timing marks facing out, which we need to have. Not sure if you can see that. And then we have our spacer collar in between. And then we have the distributor drive gear, and then the retaining snap ring, and then this is the bearing journal. So again, making sure this still turns. We've got lots of room in there, and there is the stack up for the gears for the 1600 VW Type 1 crankshaft.